Another thing is fulfilled prophecy in the Bible. And here are 8 prophecies. There's hundreds and hundreds of prophecies. Here are 8 prophecies. One is the birthplace of Jesus, and it was written in Micah chapter 5, verse 2. And that was 700 years before it happened. And it was fulfilled in Matthew chapter 2, verse 1. The Bible foretold the birthplace of Jesus. That's one. And then the Bible said that the Messiah would come from the line of King David. That's 2 Samuel chapter 7, verses 12 through 13. 700 years before it happened. Matthew 3, verses 1 through 3, and Mark chapter 1, verses 2 through 4. Now the time of David was about 1,000 years before the time of Jesus. And then being betrayed by a friend, Psalm 41, verse 9, that was 500 BC. And that was fulfilled in Matthew chapter 26, verses 14 through 16, and Matthew 27, verses 3 through 10. And then the fact that Jesus would be silent before his accusers, Isaiah 53, verse 7, and that was 700 years before, and in Matthew 27, verses 12 through 14, and Mark chapter 15, verses 3 through 5 says Jesus was silent. He didn't say a word. And then that his hands would be pierced. His hands and his feet would be pierced. Psalm 22, verse 16. That was about 1,000 years before the time of Jesus. And that was exactly fulfilled and described in John 19, verse 18, and in John 19, verses 23 through 24. And then that he would be buried in a rich man's tomb, Isaiah 53, 9, and that was 700 years. Isaiah wrote about 700 years before the time of Jesus, and that was fulfilled in Matthew 27, 57 through 60, and other places too. The statistical probability of these 8 things, just these 8 things being fulfilled, is 1 in 10 to the 17th power. What does that mean, 1 in 10 to the 17th power? Well, I have an illustration here. The state of Texas has 268,820 square miles. If you took silver dollars and covered the state of Texas 2 feet deep, and on one of those silver dollars you put an X, okay, 268,820 square miles of silver dollars, 2 feet deep, and one of them has an X on it. And you get blindfolded and you walk anywhere you want to in the state, and you get one try and you pick that silver dollar with the X on it. That's the likelihood of these all 8 happening and being fulfilled that way. In other words, it ain't gonna happen.